Today we went through and rated every single new rune coming to every single class in phase 3 of Season of Discovery. Now these runes might be changed. They're all subject to change. It's all of the ones that were either data mined or shown so far, but expect definitely some class tuning coming early on in the phase. Now some classes are absolute mega winners. Shamans looking phenomenal, and priests getting some really good runes, or mages that are focused specifically on boosting. So we will talk about like what the runes are going to be good for, how they will apply to things, PvP, boosting, raids, everything like that. Also, of course, the worst one is definitely feral druids, so they're very unfortunate, but we will go through all of them here today. So guys, I hope you enjoy this one. Let's go through them as quickly as we can, kind of, and we'll do this in like a, I'm gonna have you guys also say, there's chat. You guys can also say to participate in this, okay? So shield mastery. Increase all physical damage you deal by 10% while you have a shield equipped. Currently, it's looking like the current meta for warriors is potentially gonna be gladiator stance and spamming devastate. And it's apparently simming at like 1700 DPS, which is literally crazy. That's more than like Nax numbers, right? Okay. Reduces the duration of all disarm effects against you by 50%. Does not stack up with other disarm reductions. Shield mastery. A to D, guys. A to D. Make a swamp of the swamp. Tier for gore. This is actually a very solid flat 10% damage increase for anyone wearing a shield. This is a very solid. Plus we have to think about it. Like I think it's fair to say that this could be ranked in the B ranking, but that would be not compared to all of the other runes this phase. It's actually really, really good. It's pretty solid. So plus the other runes and synergy that they get for warriors going sword and board or even gladiator stance, I'm giving it an A. It's not just specials, it's all physical damage, which is literally everything a warrior does. It's all of your damage, and it should be applied before crit modifiers, which is very good. We're actually rating shield mastery rune in the A column, so congratulations to shield mastery rune. Maybe we should make like a I'll make like a sheet that I do this for later, that I like put this all in. Okay, shield mastery went to the A. And before we break down how all the new runes will change the way these classes will all perform in phase 3, today's video is sponsored by the new upcoming MMORPG Taurusland that can be experienced on mobile phones and also provides a PC version for all the players like us that are accustomed to playing games on PC. Taurusland features 9 diverse classes like classic warriors, mages, and priests, but also things like a phantom necro or a shadow swordsman. Each class will have 2 unique specializations to choose from. Build your characters with a rich and flexible talent tree system that allows cost-free adjustments based on different combat scenarios. Just like we're finally getting dual spec. And head off into the vast open world filled with various puzzles and encounters before assembling a team to take down some of the epic bosses in the game's raids. There's a pre-registration event going on right now, and Taurusland is offering that players can earn various rewards by completing different tasks, such as inviting your friends to pre-register and more. And these rewards are both tangible physical rewards as well as rare in-game mounts. Additionally, the game is about to release a global blessing video featuring numerous content creators around the world, so make sure not to miss it. So if you want to try out another MMORPG, pre-register for Taurusland today by clicking the link in the description. Taste for blood. Whenever Ren causes damage at all, you get to use an overpower. Once every 9 seconds, 1 overpower. Thoughts? If you're in gladiator stance and not using a shield, it's actually it feels pretty solid, right? Because then you wouldn't have to change stances. The issue with it obviously is like being your stancing every 9 seconds, so you're always forced to drop your rage, but you always get an overpower. The rune sims to actually be a negative DPS. It just makes the playstyle extremely clunky. It's definitely a PvP rune. I think that warriors got a lot. I think a lot of classes got mostly PvP runes. I'd say this is definitely a PvP rune, and for that stance, because it's a PvP rune, and it's like or gladiator stance, which I think that gladiator stance is just phenomenal for PvP. We're gonna give this a B, C, B, C, C, C. We're giving this C, okay? Taste of Blood's going to the C tier. All right, Vigilance. You put Vigilance buff up on one of your friends and it reduces all damage they take by 3%, increases, and you also get 10% of their threat. This is in the same slot as Shield Mastery, which makes no sense whatsoever. And in addition, each time they're hit by your attack or an attack, you get a new taunt. There's gonna be niche situations for this, but like is this our first F tier? It's D or F tier. It's D or F tier. It's in the same slot as Shield Mastery, which gives you 10% raw damage. There's niche situations where it's like, oh, I'm gonna need more taunts. So if I put Vigilance on an off tank, he taunts and then I taunt off of him. It's really useful, but it's like hard useless. Okay, let's go to head runes. Fury Prot Tank. What advantage are you getting from Fury Prot Tank from having 3% damage reduction on your friend and 10% of their threat? You're getting 10% threat from them. Sure, if you put it on a shaman. That's why it's not F tier. It went to the D. Okay. Wrist runes. Wrist runes. We need to make this and go 1 second. Let's go helm. There you go. Wrist. Maybe I should make this more beautiful. Rampage, Sword and Board, Wrecking Crew. Rampage, Sword and Board, Wrecking Crew. Rampage. All right. Warrior goes on a rampage. Increase your attack power by 2% each time you get more attacks. Stacks 5 times, so 10% more attack power for 30 seconds. Can only be used after getting a crit. That's a DPS increase. That's just a fact. I don't know what the cooldown is of it. I don't know if we know what the cooldown is of it yet. Is it discovered what the CD is yet? It sounds pretty. Increasing your attack power by 2%, so 10% attack power. If you think about it, this scales phenomenally well considering we get so much attack power now. So you permanently have it. You permanently have this. That's crazy. It's actually that's an A tier rune. It lasts 30 seconds, but if you keep critting and being able to, because you always have it, if there's no CD, it might be an S tier rune. That's actually kind of impressive. Okay, let's say Sword and Board. When your Devastate and Revenge abilities deal damage, you have a 30% chance of refreshing the cooldown of Shield Slam and reducing its rage cost by 100% for 5 seconds. For PvP Gladiator stance, this is insane. For Tank Warrior, this is also kind of amazing. It's okay. But it was flat AP. Oh, but this doesn't say flat AP. So that's why this is like, maybe this is S. This is actually kind of ridiculous. I know Rampage and TBC was like meme, right? Because it was base AP. Sword and Board feels really good. Not gonna lie, yeah, it's kind of really, really good. I mean, 30% chance is pretty often from Devastate and Revenge. You're shield slamming consistently now. But I don't think you would ever, does it make it worth grabbing Shield Slam? Because yeah, Shield Slam is really good in other versions of the game, but in this version of the game, it's not. Sword and Board, A-, because we have to see if it's worth it to finally grab Shield Slam. If it's not, it's literally useless. It's completely useless if you would just go, and you would just go Rampage instead, unless you're full tank gear. Wow. Think about that, guys. Does Rampage go up? Does Rampage go up to S and Sword and Board goes down to B? Maybe. All right, Wrecking Crew. This is the one that got nerfed recently. Your melee crits enrage you, increasing the critical strike damage of all attacks by 10%. The issue, this used to be increasing all of your damage by 10%, which is crazy. That was gonna be so, like, after a crit, all of your damage is increased by 10%, and then you're just permanently critting. Like, you're just 10% damage increase. That was gonna be amazing. And then that's before the crit modifier, right? It got nerfed really hard. Yeah, glitch move this will. It got nerfed really hard. It's really not great anymore. And it was really good. This was a really good rune. So C or D, it's literally useless. It's a useless rune. It's a useless rune now because you don't use it. Like, you 100% don't use it anymore. And then they have Gladiator Stance, like an S tier rune. That's crazy. I don't know where it even goes. I forget. Feet? Is it feet? And an aggressive stance that increases your damage while wearing a shield by another 10%. There's another 10% raw damage, block chance increase, whatever. But now you can use every stance's abilities. And apparently it is currently looking like Gladiator Stance is actually Gladiator Stance is like competitive with Fury for like your actual best DPS, which is still, again, like 1700 DPS from the Sins apparently. So that's crazy. It's also ridiculous for PvP. I initially was like, this is just purely PvP, like god tier for PvP, and like sure, it'll make you do more damage as a warrior tank, but yeah, this is just really good. So it's currently it's looking like you're just devastate spamming currently. So those are the warrior runes. Let's go backwards. Warlock. Okay, Warlock, helm, wrist. God, this is bright mode is so bright. I'm sorry. All right, let's look at the helm. Backdraft. Oh my god. Your conflagrate ability also grants 30% spell haste for 10 seconds. Literally god tier. It's the best rune this entire phase. A permanent bloodlust. Congratulations. Pandemic. All of your dots now can crit. So corruption, unstable affliction, curse of agony, immolate, all of those can now crit. Even curse of doom can now crit. Pandemic. A tier, it's a PvP rune more so. We'll see if it's competitive DPS in PvE, but dots really don't do much damage in classic World of Warcraft. So it's really nice for affliction to finally do damage, but it's not nearly as good as like one rune from Backdraft. A permanent bloodlust is just unreal. This is like one of the most overpowered runes we've ever seen, which is why they nerfed their other rune to the ground, right? Yeah, so yeah, ferals can't crit on their dots, but yeah. Lake of Fire, dead. Vengeance. While activated, you temporarily get 30% extra HP. This is just a shield, whatever. What's the name of it? It's Survival Instincts. Last Stand. This is Last Stand. Something that's actually, that's also A tier. For tanking, that's like literally, that's great. Warlocks didn't have a real tanking CD, and having a tanking cooldown is huge. 30% HP will be even bigger and bigger as the phases go on, as we get more and more gear. Currently, it's probably better to have like a damage reduction CD, but 30% HP just goes up really strong. Like the 30% HP buff that Feral Druids are gonna get, right, from Survival Instinct will be so insane at level 60. I believe seeing something like this, and also seeing like what we'll see with Druids, I believe we will see more tank buster mechanics that you have to use a CD for. They had a 30% dodge chance on 20-second CD. Oh, that's actually, all right. Warlocks are just cracked. All right, where's Lake of Fire so I can show you guys that it got nerfed to the ground? Where is it? Is it on your chest? Lake of Fire. Lake of Fire used to give you 50% more damage, more fire damage, just 50% fire damage, which is like kind of ridiculously overpowered. But now you oh, it was 40. Okay, yeah, 40. That's what I thought too. But now you have to cast the entire thing before the effect applies. You have to cast an entire Rain of Fire, which means it's kind of a, I'm pretty sure it's a literal DPS loss. This rune is actually dead. Dead rune. Goodbye, Lake of Fire. All right, for the wrists, we've got Immolation Aura, which currently it doesn't look like has a CD at all. You have a Immo Aura that does AoE damage and reduces all of your magic damage taken by 10% forever. A tier, S tier, S tier. It doesn't even look like it's reducing your HP while you have it up. It doesn't say it's using your health yet. So if it doesn't get changed, it's S. If it does get changed, it's A. Felguard, also A. Apparent, like we have to see how strong the Felguard is, but it looks like it's gonna be very, very solid. Being able to summon a Felguard permanently, it is really, really good. This is just that might be able to say it's in the S tier. It's an A tier for sure. Yeah, I think Immolation Aura would replace Hellfire, but if you no longer have to cast anything, you just permanently have an aura up that AoE damages, That's ungodly for every spec. Unstable Affliction is another dot for Affliction spec, and it's really good if people dispel it, like in PvP, they get silenced for 5 seconds. Unstable Affliction going into the A tier. It's not S tier because I don't think you'll be playing Affliction. I think Warlocks are currently still thinking you're going to be, because of how ridiculous Backdraft is you'll still be playing not Lake of Fire, Destro, and so this will be mostly PvP. This is going to be like ridiculously like Warlocks in PvP with critting your dots and more dots and Unstable Affliction, you'll just be like, pff, yeah. But it's looking, I'm pretty sure you're going to be Fire Destro still, so. And if there's things wrong here, just let me know. Why do your ranks for lock spell sad? Sad. That's pretty good. Okay, yeah. We're going to Shaman. Shaman. Okay, guys. The Chad class of all Chad classes. Mental Dex. Then we'll start with Burn. Let's just start with for sure. Well, Shaman. We're not even have to look at. All right. Your Flame Shock now strikes up to 3 targets. It's pretty good. Pretty solid. It's decent. It's obviously a tanking rune. This is obviously a tanking rune, but if you look right below it, Mental Dexterity. Dealing damage with your melee weapons increases your attack power by 100% of your intellect. And your stamina, spell damage and healing by 30% of your attack power. So Burn will give you permanent Molten Blasts, but yeah, you'll go super hard. For example, I have 80 intellect on my enhance right now. You have 80 intellect. So you just have a permanent 80 attack power. And how much attack power do you have? Because also Enhance does a lot of damage with spells. And you have 438 attack power with Rockbiter on. Rockbiter is supposedly getting nerfed super hard. Is that enough to deal with this? You were already spell hands. Like you're already like doing Maelstrom procs, right? 30% of that though, that would, even just if it was 400, right? That would literally be giving you 120 spell power. It's giving you 132 spell power or whatever, right? How did they decide? How did they decide to give the one class that's the most oppressive class, the whole, okay, at the very beginning of the phase, it was people complaining about Hunter, but like it was maybe Shadow Priest and Balance Druid. And then they just buffed Enhanced to Oblivion and then gave a Mental Dex. It is, to be fair, let's just say double S, because nothing else in the game is that sick. This one is good. It's like A kind of, but like you will go The issue with Burn is you will go You're gonna So Tidal Waves. Okay. 1186 attack power with double Rockbiter without Loyal Beta. Yeah, they nerfed that to the ground though. Even if you're blocking, I don't know if you'll be able to not go Yeah, but we were looking at attack power base before Rockbiter. Rockbiter is ungodly and it needed to be nerfed, and the synergy with Mental Dexterity would be like in such a obnoxious level it's unfair, right? Okay, so Tidal Waves. Also, as a tank shaman, it's hard to get Shamanistic Rage, which we'll talk about. Shamanistic Rage though, everyone in your party is getting everyone in your raid is getting mana back, and you as the shaman itself is getting like basically like it feels like you're getting full mana. And it's a 20-man raid, so you can have like 5 shamans in your raid. So every 12 seconds, your entire raid is benefiting from a Shamanistic Rage. Okay. Tidal Waves. When you cast Chain Heal or Riptide, you gain 2 charges of Tidal Waves, which reduces the cast time of Healing Wave by 30% and increases the crit of your next Lesser Healing Wave by 25%. Oh, this is so good too. We're gonna put it in the A tier. There's a lot of options for the ways that you can heal as an enhanced shaman. Maybe it's even S tier, but it's because it has such good synergy with Riptide. Riptide is also just so dope that it's coming, right? Riptide, okay, it heals your friendly target and another target over time for like 600, 700 over time, right? And your next chain heal on that target will consume the healing effect and and increase the amount of the chain heal by 25%. The AoE healing coming from Shamans next phase is just, holy cow. We're gonna write Riptide first. That's another A, maybe S. Maybe S, arguably S, arguably S. Overcharge. This is, okay, so they got some really cool things with Lightning Shield too. And you would you would chain heal, which procs overload, which is just getting double the, yeah. Shaman is your one chain heal procs and 2 overloads, which is like 17 chain heals at once. Yeah. All right. Your lightning shield never loses charges, 1 second cooldown, deals damage to all enemies within 1 or 8 yard range. So a permanent, your lightning shield does a permanent 1 second AoE. It's not just a tank ability, like it is a tank ability. So if you didn't think Shamans had too much AoE threat already, don't worry, because we just gave you a dot every 1 second for 8 yards. Overcharge is another A tier, arguably S tier. It's yes for tanks, but you'll actually, on a big like trash pull in a speed run, you'll swap on a second wrist that will just have a permanent AoE going out. It's Consecrate ×2. How much does Lightning Shield hit for right now? You don't even need to get hit. It just deals damage to all enemies. 114-ish. Lightning Shield has a 100% spell power coefficient. No way. No way. If you use Overcharge with Mental Dex and you're getting 300 or 100 spell power from that, oh, 33% per charge. Okay. Because I was like, no way. That's literally ungodly. Damn, that might be S. Okay. Shaman runes are Rolling Thunder. Your Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning have a 30% chance to add an additional charge to your Lightning Shield, which stacks up to 9, and then your Earth Shock will release all of those charges above 3, dealing their damage to the target and energizing you for 2% of your max mana per charge release. So now your Earth Shock is going to hit for 2,000 damage, and you get 2% mana back per each of those charges, per each Earth Shock you use, which is, it could be up to 6 charges, so up to 12% mana back per, and you already have infinite mana. Static Shock, your Lightning Shield now has 9 charges, and your melee attacks have a 6% chance to trigger one of those charges immediately. This really seems like overshadowed by the other ones that are just ungodly. Like sure, single target, but like it's a damage increase, but even you could even just, this is a single target enhance increase. Let's give it a B tier. When comparing it to the rest of them, you can only choose one, and when comparing it to the rest of them, for Enhanced Shaman, it's not as good. I think Enhanced would just use Rolling Thunder, TBH, but I'm not sure. That would be for Enhanced Giga Chads to figure it out. But like even with that, a spell power coefficient, 6% chance on all of your melee attacks to proc hitting with Lightning Shield, which is going to hit for like 300, so an extra 300 damage. Can Lightning Shield crit? Not currently. Well, in that case, it went to the B tier. Rogues, Combat Potency, 20% chance to gain 15 energy every time you deal melee damage with your offhand. This is really, really, really good, but it's in the same slot as something that's even better though, right? Actually, it might actually end up being potentially better, but the issue, Honor Among Thieves, every time someone in your group crits, you gain a combo point. Every 1 second, you are getting a free combo point. I also agree. So the biggest issue with rogues as a class, and this is why warriors are ungodly, is you're always held back by your energy regen. You're always held back by your energy regen. So the difference here is going to be what is going to be the efficiency of permanently, like, so if you're assassination, you would have permanent uptime basically of the envenom buff, which is also then giving you what, 20% damage to your poisons. It might not be 20%, I might be misremembering, but like permanently, because you're going to be permanently being able to keep spamming that. You'll keep it up forever. So, but Combat Potency, yes, is really, really good. So we need to see the math. But like the big issue for rogues again is that you're always stuck behind this just like very slow regenerating resource that like when you don't have energy, you just can't do anything. You won't get to press a button. It doesn't matter. So has Simon mathed it out already? And which is better? Both of these seem incredible. For PvP, if you were in a group PvP too, this would be stupid. And then focused attacks. You gain 2 energy every time you deal a melee or ranged crit. If you had you need really high crit for this to be crazy. It's for now going into the B tier, but in later phases can scale up really well, right? If you're permanently critting and you have really high haste, you're just permanently gaining energy. This will be ridiculous. This will be ridiculous. And this will be strong with the world buffs. Agreed with the world buffs, because you can also grab Songflower now, guys. So we're getting a 5% buff from Songflower crit, and we're getting 5% from the new boon of the Sunken Temple, and you're getting 8% stats from the new Sunken Temple, which also gives you more crit. Like if we were to look at like, let's just look at like, sorry, let's go to 60 upgrades really fast. Just really fast. We're taking a break from that to look at something like Season of Discovery. This isn't even correct, but let's just say you have 230 agility, and let's just round it to 8 to 10% of that is giving you 22 agility. That's giving you another 1% crit, almost 1% crit. Is it at this level, right? I don't know what the exact agility to crit is. Just ask Simon, guys. I don't know what the number is. Carnage. All right. So rogues finally are getting good runes. Rogues are finally getting some love. Carnage, you deal 20% increased damage to every target that has a bleed on them. If you are running Saber Slash, if you're no longer a dagger rogue and you're actually using Saber Slash, that's a bleed. That's instantly all of your abilities do 20% more damage. Carnage to the S tier. Boom. Cut to the chase. Your finishing moves that do damage, Eviscerate and Envenom, will refresh Slice and Dice so you never have to refresh it yourself. And Blade Dance. It's good, but it's not as good as Carnage. Saber Slash still worse than Mutilate. Oh, we're looking at this as individual runes though. But that sucks. Mutilate's still dead. So you'll probably end up using, I mean, you probably would end up using Carnage and putting up a bleed. Just using Carnage and you put up a bleed, and then, because like with the combo points you're getting, you don't even need Cut to the Chase. You just use Rupture. It's even, whatever. We're not doing that. It's going to the B tier. Unfair Advantage. When you dodge an attack, you gain, when you dodge an attack, you basically instantly attack them back for 100% of your damage. In PvP and as a tank, it having a 1 second cooldown is not great if you're like trying to AoE tank with this, but it also like would give you some AoE threat. Dungeon grinding as a tank, this is a really, really good rune. The 1 second CD is not great, but it's like having a retaliation up in PvP the whole time. What was it called? Unfair Advantage. We're gonna put it in S. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it should just be an A? I think it is an incredible tank rune. Because of how solid it is in PvP as well is why I'm rating it an S, but it could arguably be an A tier rune. So we can say it can go to A. We can say it can go to A. Let's give it A. Let's give it a little A action. Priest, Divine Aegis. Critical heals, create a protective shield, absorbing 30% amount healed. Isn't this literally Valinir? This is like unironically, isn't this actually the legendary weapon from Wrath of the Lich King? Am I tripping by saying that? Your heals have a chance to cause blessing and then allowing the heals of the target to be absorbed by 50%. Oh, it's a dis talent. Okay, it's scare. Oh, it's Scare Brooch, which is Scare Brooch. It was bis. We literally would go back to AQ in TVC to farm Scare Brooch. It's bis in TVC, and this one is actually better, basically. All right, Divine Aegis is going into the. How do you spell Aegis? Am I pronouncing it terribly? Let's go into the potentially double S tier. Are we giving that the other double S tier? C Dizzy, thank you for the Prime, dog. Are we giving it the 1S or are we giving it the double S? What do you guys think? Eye of the Void, another pet. As if you didn't need more pets. You have Homunculus, which is 3 pets. You have fucking Shadow Fiend, which is another pet, and now you have Eye of the Void. Congratulations, you have 5 pets. You guys are playing Pet Simulator, and hunters don't even get to use pets sometimes. So fights you for 30 seconds and casts a variety of curses. The thing about this is I think it's gonna curse of elements. I think this is gonna curse of elements, guys. And if it does, it's S tier. Not double S, but S tier. Because Homunculus is triple S tier because it puts up all the debuffs that instantly that also your group wasn't gonna put up. Like your warriors aren't gonna sunder. You weren't gonna have Demo Shout. You weren't gonna have Thunderclap. No, you weren't. If you're in a top tier guild, yes. But if it randomly does curses, it'll go down. But if it does Curse of Elements and Curse of Shadow, it'll be S. Shadow Priest, making it so that other players never have to press any of their buttons. I don't know why Blizzard decided to stop making people have to play the game, but that's okay. That's S tier. Pain and Suffering. Mind Flay refreshes the duration of Shadow Word Pain back to maximum. And I'm pretty sure you don't use Mind Flay, so you just go Eye of the Void. That's like a C, D tier. What was that one called? Pain and Suffering. You will use it since you can, you can snapshot. But what if you're forced to use, so now you have to use, it's changed to Mind Blast? And now you can snapshot a Shadow Rune Pain. But what if you're forced to use Eye of the Void for the debuff? If it was actually changed to Mind Blast, then shit, it might be S. But let's give it A. We were about to put it in D. If changed to Mind Blast. But you're gonna still need to use the Eye for the raid, right? So, I mean, to be honest, we all know every feral druid in the world, right? We all know every feral and the druid in the world this phase using Furor for themselves instead of getting leader of the pack for the entire raid, which I would do if I was running pugs. There's no shot I would run leader of the pack if I wasn't in guild raids. No chance. I want to have more fun, and power shifting is more fun. But don't worry, guys, we got catnip next phase. All right, back to Priest. Priest wrist runes. Let's start with Void Zone because this is hilarious. You get an AoE. It's not, maybe it'll be enough to do single target damage, but it's cool for AoE, not great for single target. This is gonna be like some B tier, maybe lower. If it goes well. Okay, Despair. Periodic damage from your spells can now crit. How much of your damage is from periodic spells? That's the question. Warlock's doing 1100 DPS here, and Shadow Priest doing 700 DPS. Congratulations. Great. Mind Spike, Mind Blast, Shadow Fiend, Shadow Word Death. I think you have to change your spec. I don't know the spec that you go to. I'm rating it in the A tier, but I'm very much saying I don't know. There's no difference in spec. The Empiric Plague will be better on non-mech. It's because it'll also be good in PvP. Let's give it A tier. Surge of Light. Critical spellcasts cause your next smite or flash. Wait, any crit from spells causes your next smite or flash heal to be instant. Okay, that's S. Get out of here. Because you can output damage now, or you can instantly flash heal, right? You could smite priest, but you could, like, having your healers actually be able to output some damage is so huge for a raid. Oh, it does still cost mana, but do you have mana issues with, you have Fiend. Okay, guys, welcome to the Chad class, the Paladins. The Chad class, the Paladin, guys. They, of course, got the best runes in the game, right? Holy Paladins. Finally, getting some runes. Let's look at it. Fanaticism. Increases your critical strike chance with holy spells by 18%. Was this here before? Did they just add this? Loken, thank you so much for the tier 1. Was this here? 18% crit to your... 18% crit? If that's actually it, I can't spell apparently. Isn't there a C there? Yeah. It gets rid of like mana issues. Yeah, it's obvious. It's for healers. That's crazy. Light's Grace. Your holy light spell reduces the cast time of your next holy light by 5 seconds or half a second. Also very solid. Although it's like, where's the AoE healing? You know, like that's a good one if we were in the same Like that would be so good in classic world. Wow. Can't move while healing. Didn't they already have beacon? That's 2 targets. But paladins could easily be your tank healers now. It's just the other side has shamans who can just heal the whole world and also give mana to everyone and also give Wind Fury to everyone while healing and also be gods. Oh yeah, and shamans have freedom. All right, improve Sanctuary. Increase the damage prevented by your Blessing of Sanctuary by 100% and increases the damage done by your Blessing of Sanctuary by 30%. Interesting, because the other one on here is your Consecration damage can now be a crit, and your Exorcism, Holy Shock, and Holy Wrath and Consecration gain additional crit strike chance equal to your melee crit. So like, this is, you'd want this to be like an AoE thing, maybe. I don't know. I don't see this being too great. It's 2 different heal runes and 2 different tank runes. I mean, I guess does like Divine Storm and Crusader Strike, do those all count as holy spells? They do, right? Wouldn't I rather take 18% crit on all of those than getting crit on my Consecrate that hits for 40 damage a tick? How hard is Consecrate hitting right now? Here, Improved Sanctity is going to the B, and Wrath is going to A. Yeah, sure. So, I mean, because yes, you can. All right. First of all, you have Hammer of the Righteous, which currently doesn't say you need to have a one-hander on, but you should. Hammer's the current target and 2 additional targets. So you hit 3 targets, doing 4 times your main hand weapon damage per second as holy. That's very good. Very good for tanks. And this will be required to be one-handers, right? It will. Risk. What was it? Hammer of the Righteous? Oh, let's just go Whore. For tanks, amazing. And the damage is holy damage, and it has 18% chance to crit potentially. If you got that one, there's gonna be an interesting. If it doesn't require you to be one-handed, what, you just hit things? You hit everything? You literally hit 3 targets for twice your melee damage? Oh, sorry, 4 times your melee damage. I think it's saying main hand means it's forced to be one-handed. It has, yeah, it's one-handed. Improved Hammer of Wrath. Hammer of Wrath is reset each time its damage takes an enemy below 10% HP. Oh, it damages an enemy below 10% HP. But I think there's been some data mining that this is finally up to 20%. So you'll just permanently Hammer of Wrath during execute. There's an actual execute phase for paladins. I think that's really good. When they get it. Oh, it's not instant cast? The fuck out of here. Beats here. All right. Purifying Power reduces the cooldown of Exorcism and Holy Wrath by 50%, and Holy Wrath can now be cast on any target. Will stun undead and demon targets. So now you can Exorcism and Holy Wrath anything, and the CD is reduced by half. What is the current CD of Exorcism? Yeah, Holy Wrath is a cast, but it can hit everything around you. 15 seconds, so a 7. This is actually a pretty good one. This is actually a pretty good one. If you have a huge pull, boom, a ton of extra damage. I'd say A tier. It's not nearly as strong as the other things we have in S tier, but you'll have some like big Holy Wraths that go out quite consistently. So that's pretty nice. So 2 tank runes here, kind of 2 holy runes here, and you have to choose what holy rune you're gonna use. And this is a ret rune also. Interesting choices. It feels okay. It's okay. They got a couple really good runes. The synergy will be weird. Okay. Now to look at, yeah, Pally runes, good Pally runes so that they can be half as good as Shamans. While Shamans got, let's see, let me just scroll over here. Double S tier and S tier runes. Okay. All right. I mean, but getting 18% crit is like, but you're also, yeah, you're still using automatic crowd pummeler. All right. I just want to let's just get this out of the way, guys. So that we can all cry in happiness. Okay, Gore. Striking a target with Last Right, Swipe, or Maul has a 15% chance to reset the cooldown of Mangle and grant 10 Rage. Every time you Last Right, you gain 10 Rage. That part is pretty cool. Every time you swipe, you gain a ton of Rage. Infinite Rage on proc, obviously 15% chance. But Lacerate and Mangle are literally in the same slot, so they haven't done anything about that yet. Striking a target with Mangle as a cat or Shred as a cat has a 5% chance to reset the cooldown of Tiger's Fury, which now gives you, what, 60 energy and 6% damage for 6 seconds. Sounds great. 5% chance to proc. It only procs on average every 85 seconds. It literally is basically not a damage increase. This is a completely useless rune. Unfortunately, feral druids are probably stuck actually running improved bark skin. This is the worst rune of all time. F tier rune. Gale Winds increases the damage done by your hurricane by 100%. It no longer has a CD, and its mana cost reduced by 20%. What are you thinking, guys? Hit me with it. It sounds nice until you realize that hurricane doesn't really do damage. It sounds really good until you realize that hurricane is like volley in the fact that it doesn't do damage. It does apply an AoE thunderclap, and that is the only real strength of hurricane. 100 times 0 is still 0, which means there's no single target damage rune also for you. What is this called? Gale Winds and Imperfection. Gale Winds. That's a good old B, maybe D tier, B tier, D tier, D tier rune. What, you have no improvement for single target DPS for Boomkin? You just give him an AoE rune for an AoE ability that's already garbage? Gore is placed too high. Go outside, dig a hole, and place it there where it belongs. F minus. And we have to pick improved bark skin. Now you can use bark skin on your allies, and it no longer penalizes their spell casting speed or melee combat speed. And you can cast it while shapeshifted. This is actually amazing. It's amazing, especially for resto shamans. This is a tank buster CD. This can save your tanks or save your friends. This is really good. It also can also cast on yourself in a good way. Improved bark. Actually kind of S tier, maybe A. It's kind of S for that, but it doesn't help DPS specs at all. But it is kind of S tier for utility if there's tank buster mechanics. So just know, if there are tank buster mechanics in the new raid, it is crazy good. It's like pain sup. And for PvP, yeah, maybe it's A+. Let's give it A+. This is the first A+. I like that. All right, wrist. This is the worst rune of all time. Blizzard, please help us. Please help feral druids. We are struggling. All right, let's go to wrist. Efflorescence. Swift Mend now causes efflorescence. Heals all party members within 15 yards of the Swift Mend target. Awesome. It's like Wrath resto druids are coming out. You know, resto druids in classic World of Warcraft, their literal only job, this is not even a joke, and this sucks to say, the whole reason you would bring a resto druid in classic World of Warcraft was for fairy fire. They weren't even allowed to use their heals. Yeah, they could decurse, but you have mages for that. That's the real thing. And this is amazing. Now you have just so much AoE healing. Efflorescence, straight to the S tier. Your AoE heals are amazing. Oh yeah, sorry, you have Mark of the Wild, yeah. All right, Alun's Fires. This is the one that it increases the duration of your Starfire whenever you use Moonfire. All right, sorry. It increases the duration of your dots whenever you use your damage ability. So Starfire gets extended by 6 seconds. Oh my God, backwards. Moonfire gets extended by 6 seconds every time you use Starfire. Sunfire extended by 3 seconds every time you Wrath. Regrowth extended every time you Rejuve. Backwards again. And Rip extended every time you Shred. For Feral Druids, this is B. For Resto Druids, A-. And for Boomkins, I don't know. We could put this in the B tier. Maybe it's kind of F. It's D tier for Feral. Technically, it does something, but altogether we can put this in B. Alun's Tears? Alun's Fires. Altogether, it can go in B. But for Feral, it's purely quality of life for balance. Yeah, it gives you 6 seconds for Feral. It gives you 6 seconds on an ability that does 10% of your damage right now. If you're lucky, it's not enough. No, it's not nearly. Yeah. And Resto would just take Efflorescence anyways. So maybe it's B minus. Let's put this as a B minus tier. Okay. All right. Improved frenzied regen. Now everyone can frenzied regen, and you get HP. You can use frenzied regen in every form, and it converts your rage, mana, or energy into health. Great for PvP. Pretty. It's just PvP. It's great. It's cool for PvP. What does it change for? So, an overall rating. Oh, I should do an overall rating. We'll do at the end. We'll do an overall rating for each of the classes. Okay. 10% HP per second. Actually, that could end up being pretty solid if you can have infinite rage from Gore if you get crazy procs. D tier overall. There you go. You go D. All right, cool. Druid. There we go. We have Mage and Hunter. Mage and Hunter. What do we do last? Let's go Mage. Let's go Mage. Okay. Advanced warding. Increase the magnitude of your shield. So Mana Shield, Fire Ward, and Frost Ward. And Mana Shield now drains 50% less mana. So it doubles the... It's PvP. So that doesn't do anything. Okay. Mage. Warding. B. F. D, because it is decent in PvP, but not really because you'll use Deep Freeze. Warding. F. Boosting rune? Yeah, definitely a boosting rune. Definitely. Actually pretty cracked out for boosting. Wow, I didn't even think about that. They're really... Well, okay, was that better than Temporal Anomaly? It's basically you'll launch like a frozen orb, but not a frozen orb. Don't worry, we'll get there. Launches your orb at the targets and it just shields them. That's kind of cool for tanks. Thoughts? I know that they do get frozen orb. That's why I was saying it. This is the A tier for boosting. Actually, S. Why did Blizzard buff boosting? I don't know. Blizzard wanted more bots around. And Deep Freeze. Deep Freeze is just Giga S tier for PvP. Giga S tier for PvP and completely useless in PvE. So you will freeze the target, stunning them for 5 seconds, and you'll be able to hit them with crazy crits, crazy damage. It does damage to targets that are permanently immune to stun. I'm not sure what the damage multiplier it is, but will it hit super hard? Because of the PvP, it'd be S tier and everything. A, S? It is insane. In PvP, it's super S, but I'm not sure what the actual amount of damage it'll deal. Someone else can do the math. I don't care. Someone else has already done it. Okay, Balefire Bolt. The damage looks strong. All right, we'll give it... What did we give it? We gave it the S. We gave it the good old S. It is super Zaryu tier. Like, try going up against a mage now. Try at the beginning of this phase. Everyone who was like, oh, you should fight a mage. Mages would just living flame, living bomb, and then they would ice block, and you were dead. You couldn't get them out of ice block. You were dead. You were like, what can I do? Oh, run away? You can't. It's faster than you. All right, Balefire Bolt is the new spell ability that you can use. Every time you use it, it does more damage, but also reduces your spirit by 10%. It stacks up to 10 times, so it does more and more. But once you reach 10 and your spirit hits 0, you instantly die. I know Living Flame has been nerfed. I was at the beginning. I won't say that. Okay, so Balefire Bolt. This is very solid, potentially. I'm pretty sure the Mage Discord would have calculated the damage of it. This is pretty good. Is it insane? I'm not sure yet. I just need to know how much damage it does, right? But it has the potential to be really, really good. Displacement. Teleport back to where you last cast Blink, and it resets the Blink cooldown. In PvP, that's just so stupid. Holy crap. Mages just got like PvP runes. Mages just got super PvP runes. And then Molten Armor, finally getting Molten Armor. It causes some damage when you're hit, but it increases your spell crit chance by 5% and reduces the chance your spell crit or your crit by 5%. 5% crit gain. What do we think? Unsafe Cell, thank you for the tier 1. For fire mages, you love more crit. That's no 18% though. It is B for boring for sure. 18%. I want to give it an A or B. It's nice, but not game breaking for sure. But it's not like useless. Like 5% crit chance is like a pretty significant damage buff, especially when you're playing a class that like loves to gain more from crits. And don't you already have a rune that's giving you crit burnout rune? Yeah, we're gonna put it in A right now. Where's burnout? Where's burnout? Down, burnout, 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 burnout. And this is already giving you 15%. So you're getting 20 crit percent, 20 chance crit. What is this scaling that we're getting this? Can we just all go ahead and say 20% is more than 18? We'll be around 60% crit with all buffs. That's what it's looking like. 60% crit with all buffs. That is, all right, mages have decided that they're having a good time. Congratulations. So get wrecked with your 18% holy spell crit. Paladins, mages get 20% crit from their runes for fire spells, for all spells. Get wrecked. Fire number 1. Warlock nerfed to the ground, except for they got good runes, but just Lake of Fire got nerfed to the ground. Okay. Also, feral just druids apparently have been forgotten about as a class, guys. So just wait, you know, Blizzard forgot about them, but like, just wait, just wait. You know, Blizzard's gonna remember that they put these in the game. Druids are still in the game, don't worry. All right, looking at the final class, guys, the Giga Chad class, the class that's probably gonna be the #1 damage class all 2 days until it gets nerfed, because it starts strong every phase and then gets nerfed. Also, it's not the best scaling class. Warriors are gonna be insane. And mages. Warriors and mages and shamans are just like, what? Now that I see all of the mage runes. But we get some really cool things. All right, cat-like reflexes, so cool. 20% dodge, now you're a tank for you and your pet. Your pet gets 9% dodge, so your pet's a tank now. And it reduces the cooldown of kill command and flanking strike by 50%. Basically, it's really good for soloing things, really good for soloing content. And it does a tiny bit for melee hunter. Flanking strike CD is reduced, so you can try to keep the buff up more often, but it's time to be a tank hunter. We're giving this a good old B tier. Okay, 1 sec, I need to lower all of these. Right, helm. Okay, this is called cat-like reflex B tier. Okay, that's a big old B tier, fat B there. Lock and load. This is so good for hunter boosters and hunter PvP. Okay, yeah, I can move the Excel over. Here we go. Hunter boosting and PvP. Every time you trigger a trap, your next shot ability is no mana and has no CD, so the CD is gone. So you get to use trap, explosive shot, trap, explosive shot, then explosive shot. Hello, hunter boosters loving lock and load, and PvP loving lock and load. Single target ranged hunter. Also, you can be like chimera shot, trap, chimera shot, which is pretty nice. Is it enough to make them as good as melee hunter? No, but it is a large one. Utility wise, that goes into the S tier. Rapid killing reduces the CD of rapid fire by 2 minutes, and your next shot within 20 seconds after killing a target is worth more. A target worth experience or honor deals 20% damage. This is really good for open world PvP or for leveling. This is actually like, this is good for leveling. It's actually useless in raid. So D, lock and load is S for utility, but it's actually kind of A because it actually doesn't do anything for hunter damage. So hunter runes, when you look at it for like melee hunter, you got basically nothing. You got a little bit of love, but not really. You got like, yeah. And lock and load completely takes away rapid killing being useless. So yeah, but range hunter is still not good enough is the issue. But lock and load utility is so good. And so chimera, it works really well with chimera and explosive. It works really well. Not good enough to be S, but good enough to be A. Feign death swaps do work on most encounters. Okay. Range hunter always Sag, but they're trying. Also, True Shot Aura now also increases your ranged, so this is nice. They're trying. Apparently, Aspect of the Hawk also now increases your melee attack power too, so that's that. Yeah. Okay. Focus Fire consumes all applications of frenzy on your pet and increases your pet. Sorry, the first part of it is actually your pet's attacks. Each time your pet attacks, it gains 6% attack speed, and that stacks 5 times. So 30% attack speed for your pet, just raw. And then you can use Focus Fire for 20 seconds. You gain ranged attack speed, and your pet gains some focus to be able to get the frenzy up faster. This is actually a pretty cool mechanic where you'll try to keep your pet buffed with frenzy the whole time while you're also buffed. This takes away Lone Wolf. It's very unsynergistic with Lone Wolf though, because if you're a ranged hunter, you want to be using Lone Wolf right now, but now it's like maybe you don't want to use Lone Wolf as a ranged hunter, so that you can, maybe it'll allow you to play a BM ranged hunter build. Is it great? It's a really, really unsynergistic rune. Let's go down to TNT. Increase the damage done of explosive shot and your traps by 10%. Also just good for boosters. Nobody else cares. That is a D tier rune. Why are they just buffing boosting? It's so interesting. They just want you to be able to boost people more? Boosting gets so much better for mages and hunters. And then, yeah. All right, Raptor Fury. This rune is potentially, with good RNG, insane. Raptor Strike increases the damage done by Raptor Strike by 15% for 15 seconds. Stacks up to 5 times. With good RNG, this gets nerfed because of the potential for RNG. But this is very, very good. Double S Raptor Fury. It's Retail Mongoose Strike. And is Retail Mongoose Strike really good? Or does RNG make it really shitty? All right, we now have all of the classes. All of the classes. Let's go to, how can I format this to make it look not ugly? Format, theme. There. I don't know. Just make it not ugly. Customize. Yeah, the whole thing. Done. Whatever. It's ugly. I don't care. Okay. Let's rank the classes now and an overall, right? Let's give everything its due on overall. Okay? Feral Druid, F. Druid has to get its own, yeah, all right. Feral, F. Balance, B, D. Resto, S. Tank, A. Mage, PvP, SS. PvE, A. Balance, C max. We could go with that. I like that. Boosting, SS. Healing, A. Maybe, yeah, A. Yeah, let's give it A. Boosting, SS. Feral, F minus. Okay. Hunter, ranged, B. Melee, S, because of Raptor's Fury. Just Raptor's Fury alone brings the melee runes to S. That's it. Boosting, S. Okay. Paladin, holy. I want to say B. Ret, I want to say B. Tank, A. Maybe S. Yeah, exactly. The crit one's nice, but it's like you're just left in the dust by all other healers. Priest, Shadow, A. A plus, S. Heals, S for sure. PvP, S of course. Rogue runes actually coming out to the S. I would say, like, compared to what Rogues got last time, really, really good. Rogues actually got it. Rogues did it. Let's see for PvP Rogue. Let's say also S, dude. You have like this alone in PvP is crazy. You have top evasion, and every second you're hitting them with damage. Yeah, Rogue's finally getting it. Shaman, tank, DPS, enhance, LE, heals, S, SS, SS, SSS. What did I press? All right. It's unfair, really. Better than Carnage for PvP. The thing is, Carnage means you need dots on them, and that means you cannot CC them, which is like the bread and butter of playing a rogue, right? So yes. You didn't rate rogue tank? Oh, sorry, you're right, tank. S. Rogue tank is actually going to be really good this phase if it can do something for AoE. Warlock, tank, DPS, PvP. PvP, double S. DPS, A, maybe S. Tank, S. Yeah, they're both like kind of A plus because of the synergies. Okay. Warrior. I know that they aren't very inspired runes for warrior, so like warrior doesn't get like fun. Warrior doesn't get fun. Fury / arms, B. A just because of rampage maybe. Gladiator, SS. Tank, A. PvP, I don't know, go glad. PvP, I don't know, go glad stance. No, this is tier list about their runes. This is specifically about their runes. And one rune giving you 10% attack power the entire time, that's a very... But then again, we have to think, oh, has Rampage already gotten nerfed? Yeah, all of the rest of the... No, every other rune is shit. No, that's Wrecking Crew. That one got nerfed to D. Don't worry, that one got nerfed to D tier. Wrecking Crew got nerfed to D tier. Warriors, although they didn't get anything really fun, they did get some decent runes and some absolutely useless runes. Warlocks got some amazing runes, but also one of their best runes from this phase got nerfed to the ground. This could even be because, in all honesty, if you look at like getting 10% attack power compared to how Shamans casually got 20% attack power for nothing. Yeah. Okay. Shamans are the big winners. Shaman is the biggest winner of all time, guys. Shaman wins. Congratulations. Rogues, huge W this phase for rogues. Huge W. Priests, also pretty solid W. But I'm not here. Let me scroll over for you guys. Pretty solid W, especially for healing priests. But I don't know if Pain and Suffering is actually changed to Mind Blast. So therefore, I can't give you if they're an actual solid W for Shadow. I'm giving you an A. Shamans, mega winners though. Paladins. Paladins kind of got glossed over a little bit. Paladins kind of got memed on. Paladin kind of shit. Druids. Feral Druid, absolutely dumpster. Feral Druid for runes, rating their runes, Feral Druid, absolutely terrible. And the hard part for Alliance is that you need Ferals and Paladins to be good if you want to be able to compete with the Horde. Nope. The Druids for Ferals, the worst. Druid healers got some of the coolest runes possible. Resto Druids got some of the coolest runes possible. Absolutely. Mages got some really good runes for PvP, like some of the best runes ever for PvP and for boosting, and for PvE and for healing, they got solid runes. Not amazing, not terrible, not completely useless, but not like, wow, that's great. Right? And Hunter also for boosting, insane. For melee, just in Raptor's Fury alone until it gets nerfed, that was just crazy. And ranged Hunters kind of in the B tier. Okay? For runes, that is just rating all of the runes. So guys, I know that took quite a while to go through all of them, but that is how all of the runes are, and rating them in a, not a tier list, but a giving them like a grading scale, right? So yeah, Virtue, I will post this on YouTube, guys. So I hope you guys liked the breakdown of all of it. And I appreciate the input, especially there's always gonna be like classes that I don't play and I know a lot about, but don't know like the min-maxing about, or some that I don't know anything about, i.e. healing. And that's where you guys come in, okay? Any guesses on top 3 DPS phase 3? Currently, probably Warrior, Melee, Hunter, Mage. Rogue is probably gonna feel pretty solid as well. We're gonna see how Warlock pans out. Oh, wait, sorry, I forgot. Did you guys remember that Shamans are a thing? Sorry, what? Sorry, have you heard about Shamans? Have you met our Lord and Savior Shaman? Warlock might pump with 30% haste feels too good. That rune is like ungodly, right? For a cast, you lose 40% damage, but gain 30% haste. It's an interesting trade-off, right? But it's not like you hard lose 40% damage. Is there no other rune in that slot that gives you any sort of utility, right? So you gain 10% crit for the trade-off. So you gain 10% crit and 30% haste instead of 40% damage. And we get 10% crit from world buffs. And warlocks have a spell damage modifier on crit damage. Marks, let's go. Heal Hands SSS confirmed. And you'll get Nightfall procs. Yeah, thank you for the tier 1. Yeah, that is absolutely, like, that is just, it's just absolute ridiculousness. And hell yeah, I love it. There's a lot of really good runes. The biggest winner is definitely Shaman. Rogue is a huge winner. Priest looking good. And the biggest loser is by far Druid, and then probably Paladin.